when you look ahead, I heard a good analogy the other day saying, you look 5 years, plan for one. I mean, just be aware of what's coming out. You representing a global brand, how do you then sort of set the team up for success in terms of planning out? How do you prepare yourself for that 5-year mark and make sure the team's running now and hitting all the targets in the current year?
It's good. I had a question on. We do a global town hall with all of our employees every quarter, and one of the questions that an employee wanted answered was, what does the long term strategy for Snap Fitness and Lift Brands look like? Um, and it was interesting. I hate to give like what does the 5-year plan look like,
Mm.
because I don't know if anyone's ever hit a 5-year plan, right?
I heard someone say it the other day in the only group I'd only ever seen it. I think it was on one of the big podcasts, and it was talking about it. Was the only one that ever hit a 5-year plan was Google.
Google, yeah, well,
Only one I've ever seen.
Well, look, I certainly look at sort of 2 years ahead,
Yeah.
with a view that are we doing the right thing that's gonna sustain in 5 or even 10 years' time,
Mm.
all right? And I think that this takes a bit more macro kinda look forward, bigger picture stuff. But to get really kinda in the weeds, nitty-gritty, we really spend a lot of time focusing on what does the next 18 months look like?
Yeah.
Because to look any further afield than that's very difficult.
Mm.
Even with our ownership in private equity, I mean, typically they're working on sort of 5 to 7-year horizons.
Yeah.
So we have to have a plan for that period of time. We certainly have a plan behind the scenes. I mean, we've done our modeling out to sort of 2030, 2031 at the moment. And so we have an idea of, okay, if we hit target, that's where we are.
Yep.
Interestingly, the strategic initiatives to get there are not that different to what they are today.
Mm.
It's a lot of for us, it's a lot of just continually improving, continually improving. It's just revisiting our CRM and making sure that's as good as it can be. It's revisiting our education structures, our support structures. It's ensuring that our revitalization, modernization program is being adhered to, and franchisees are continuing to reinvest in their product and their
Yeah.
clubs, because that was some of the challenge we've had in the past where, in particular in the US business, where our franchisees hadn't done that. So then you're starting a ways behind, but if you keep that up the whole way through, then your product always stays relevant. Franchisees don't have to put a huge amount of investment in, every 5 to 10 years. So it's a great place to be.
I like that. Continual improvements, regular improvements. I think that's
Little
it's a really good point.
Just little things.
Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
have to be massive. So a lot of it's just, small tweaks. So even like AI, for example, I mean,
Mm.
I know you'll probably ask a question around AI, but, for us, we're starting to embrace it, but we're not
Yeah.
diving in with everything, right?
Yeah. Smart.
Let's just take our time. Let's just bit by bit look at this. We'll test a few things. We've
Yeah.
piloted a few things. Some
Yeah.
stuff has worked well. Some stuff has not worked well.
Mm.
So it's just, bit by bit.
On that AI, but before we get to the AI, I wanted you touch on the ownership structure there of franchise equity groups and expectations around that. We had a chat with James about 5 years ago that, or maybe even 10 years ago, saying just look out, said all the big brands in the health and fitness space will be owned by a few big equity firms that will bring in a lot of brands. In that model, what makes it unique when you have an equity firm from an ownership point of view? Like, what are those additional things that you have when they're in place versus when they're not?
Mm. It's interesting. Will there be significant consolidation in our space? I'm still not sure.
Mm.
Part driven by the fact that it's hard to manage multiple different brands.
Mm.
And we've seen that with Fitness and Lifestyle Group here,
Yeah.
where they've divested of a number of their products.
Yeah.
That said, Viva Leisure continue to buy and acquire, and I think they're up to 11, 12 or 13 different brands. And hats off to Harry and the team there for that, because that's not an easy task to bring that together and make it all work.
Mm.
Balancing enough attention, especially if you've got shared services, maybe your marketing team is across all those brands, if you've got them individual, different. But
Yeah.
so it's interesting. Consolidation is one of those questions that I think remains to be seen. And there have been some exponential, obviously, over in the States have done it well. And, well, have they done it well? I don't know. We won't dive into that, but I think they've done it well. They've had their
Pretty well.
few challenges here and there.
Yeah.
But look, it's interesting. What was the second part of that question?
Does it the difference is, say, you've got an equity group above you?
Yep.
Or without one?
Or without one?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you don't have one, you're probably still, original owners, right?
Mm.
And are those original owners, how connected and involved in the business are they?
Yeah.
For us, I think one of the benefits has been that we're predominantly private equity owned, and that has given me a lot of autonomy to run the business. without too much oversight, zero oversight from the original founder, who's now only a minority share anyway.
Yep.
But very little oversight from the ownership group out of the private equity, and that's been driven by, I mean, one, performance, one, a really strong plan. They've bought into the plan. I've delivered the plan year on year on year. Obviously, financial performance is the critical part of that.
Yep.
All they want to know is the bottom line, achieving or overachieving what you said it was going to do, and it has every year. So I
Mm.
think that takes a huge amount of the pressure off. Now, if we weren't, I think it'd be a different story. They'd be breathing down my neck, and it'd be a very different situation. And I'm not sure how excited I'd be about that. So it just
Performance
depends.
is everything.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, performance is everything.
Yeah.
And if you if you're not performing, it's just,
You don't have a company.
well, there's not an opportunity, right? So